Welcome everyone to this week's video cast, where today we're going to be talking about brands and social media. Again, like normal, we have about 40 to 50 people that are going to be joining us for today's session. We're going to start off talking about social media, people's thoughts on what their favorite social media platform is and why, and then we're going to get into just getting a perspective of what makes brands' interaction on social media good. So, without further ado, we are going to get into it and start showing some introductions to the group, get them excited to talk about social media, give them some instructions. Send out an image, and I'm going to give them a minute here to just read through everything, make sure that they're all ready to go, and then we are going to ask them if they're ready and then get right into it. So again, thank you very much for watching the video. Hopefully this is exciting, and we'll learn something about people's perspective around what makes brands' interaction on social media good. All right, so we're going to ask this quick question here to the group, make sure everyone's ready to go, and then we will be off asking our first question. I'm going to go ahead and assume that everyone's ready, but I will wait for them to tell me. But you can see here we're getting started with the session. We have about 42 people online. Just scrolling up. Again, we're going to be talking about brands and social media. All right, 6 seconds left. Everyone is ready to go, so let's get started. So first question that we're going to ask, we have a list of different major social media platforms, and we're just going to get perspective on what everyone's favorite social media platform is. So we're going to ask that for 45 seconds, give them a little bit of time. Maybe people need to determine, think about what they want, what they enjoy from a social media platform, and then we're going to ask a follow-up question, which is going to be around asking why and kind of explaining and convincing the rest of the group why the social media platform that they think is the best one, why is that the best one. So I'm pretty curious to see what people say. Hopefully there's some good variety. I'm assuming there's going to be some differing opinions here, as you can see in what I've already preloaded and gotten ready to go, but who knows? Maybe everyone likes Instagram. Maybe everyone likes Snapchat. We'll see. All right. So we got 32% Facebook, good mix, some Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat's a little lower in this group, Pinterest is on the low end, LinkedIn is on the low end. Cool, but I think some differing opinions up top, mix between Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Now we're going to ask them to make that argument. So make the argument to the rest of the group about why your favorite social media platform is the best. We're going to start to see some responses come in from the group as they start to answer. One person is enjoying the type of pictures that are on different, more visual, social media platforms. And we'll see where this goes. So I think part of what we'll then be able to look at is, as we get these answers and kind of the reasons behind it, we'll then be able to then link it back to the people that said specifically Facebook or specifically Instagram or Snapchat, and get an understanding of what they said and so forth. So kind of up front right here, it looks like Facebook is kind of on the higher end here in terms of the clear dominant social media platform. So just kind of the fact that everyone's there. That's where the people are. Other people are not as a big fan of any of the social media. You can see kind of in the middle there as Twitter is the best in terms of the speed in which you get things out. Getting a sense of what's interesting and pressing in the kind of the last 48 hours, I think. All right. So other side of it is around just like some people are looking for kind of peers in some ways. So I think from an age perspective, I assume that's from a younger member here. So in terms of just looking at what they want to be able to utilize and kind of utilize with peers. All right, we got about 5 seconds left, and we're going to start to see kind of what people say about this. I'm actually going to get prepped and ready to go for the next one. I kind of had here some arguments. I'm going to see if there's anything interesting. Personally, so it looks like there's some variety here in terms of what is that one. For me, I personally do like my favorite is Instagram because of just kind of the simpleness of it, the easiness. I assume this is about. Cool. So now we're going to shift into a little bit around like brands and their interaction with brands on social media. So we're going to go to, do you intentionally follow businesses and brands on social media? Just a quick poll just to get a gauge of people that do that don't do that. And then we're going to ask a follow-up question related to that. And we're going to dig into one of the questions above after we ask this next ask question, more of an open-ended question. We have a little bit more time to dig in and ask the group and look at some of their responses from the last question up there. Interesting. So it looks like less people are following it. I'm going to change it. You would want to follow, and why. Why you would. So kind of, I think we had anticipated finding more people that would follow the brands. So we're going to kind of shift this question a little bit based on that, so we don't sound too tone deaf to that, which is tell the rest of the group which brand you would want to follow, and then why. Then why you would. Shift that. Cool. So as we're asking the group that question, I'm just going to kind of quickly go in here, get a perspective of, all right, if I want to look at people that their favorite social media platform is Facebook, we kind of get an understanding of why people think that. It's easy to stay in touch with family and friends. Heck, my grandma is even on. I know Facebook is already, it's an easy decision, enables me to connect with family the easiest, and so forth. And then we're going to look at what people said from Instagram. Instagram actually, so hasn't been overrun by old people. Instagram has cool pictures. It's the simplest one. Just looking at pictures is fine, and so forth. Twitter, we're going to look at just lots of opinions. Where else in Twitter would we be prevented from saying too much? Up to date on things trending, so forth. Versus, I'm going to look at LinkedIn. I think there was one, just focused on networking for jobs, and so forth. So we're going to scroll back into what makes someone want to follow a brand. We did kind of get a perspective of which ones did people not, that people did not follow brands. About 70% said they do not. 72% said they do not follow brands. But kind of get a perspective of why they would, what brand would they want to follow and why. So follow something to get benefits from, like coupons, like to be paid via following, like to follow a brand that interests, offers promotions, discount, features social media. I want to follow, so forth. So follow for fun. Do not follow for fun. Follow for incentives within this group specifically. So obviously this is only about 45 people. So to think about that. All right. So we're actually going to show a quick video. This video is from Chubbies, the shorts retailer. And get everyone's perspective on that afterwards. So we're going to give everyone a little bit of time to watch the video, and then we're going to ask a couple quick questions from that. So as we're doing that, I'm going to look at some of the responses to the last one, like local food places. You got to get good deals. I like to don't follow brands. Don't have an idea. Looks like from this group, it looks around coupons and getting something out of it versus, in some instances, I would say that there are some hypothesis around like entertainment value around brands or seeing interesting things for some other brands. I'm going to give a couple more seconds, about 10 more seconds to the group here, and then we're going to ask that next follow-up question, which is just kind of what stood out with this in comparison to typical advertising. All right. Then after that, we're going to show a quick image as well and also get some perspective. And then we'll probably be closer to time at that point in terms of how long we're going to have this conversation. We might ask one more question. So looks like in terms of what stood out, using overweight people as the main focus, people didn't look like typical models. Didn't know at the beginning what was being advertised. Dad bods, just the fun and entertainment. Look like not typical models and so forth. So kind of like that. Like I think in some ways it's more authentic, less just models showing off different things. That there's people part of it. There's a social aspect of the ad, and I think that's like what we've kind of seen before around specifically social media advertising or social media outreach and engagement is around being authentic with the brand and being authentic with the audience, and so showing that as part of that and kind of makes it feel a little bit more real and a little bit more approachable in some ways. Unless like a specific advertising, polished advertisement. Cool. And we're going to ask. Cool. And so again, we're going to show a quick image here to the group. This is via Instagram. Patagonia, utilizing one of their posts on Instagram, I think fairly recently, and get people's perspective on that. So again, give them a little bit of time just so they can look at it, get their perspective, ask them what they thought was interesting about this. And we are going to ask the question. Cool. So as we're waiting for the group of participants to answer that question, again, I can go back and look at some of what the last group said, kind of like the chubby man, no talking, self-mocking aspect of it. Again, kind of like going into that like somewhat approachable aspect of it and so forth. So kind of the great photography is what people are pointing out. Great picture, cool picture. One person thinks that the person looks fake in the photography. It's more like a social media post, and so forth. Again, getting into what's interesting as well as kind of more like a social media post than an advertising post. I actually found it interesting when I looked at it, the fact that it's a photo cred to someone else. So kind of just showing that it's someone's photo, who that photographer is, versus it just being a specifically this is their advertisement, a polished advertisement that is again going into a more social aspect and social media and networking aspect of this is who else took the photo. This is the location that it was taken at, not that it's kind of stock photo type of thing. Cool. And we have one last. Let's see. So I'm going to skip that. And I'm going to go one last question. We have time. I'm going to ask the people to get creative and think about what would maximize your reach and engagement with people online. Just see what people think. and then we will close up today. So again, let's look at the responses from the last one. Nothing. I've seen that image 1,000 times before. Great photography. Water literally surrounds him. So it's a different perspective. Some focused on the image content. Some focused on the fact that it just is good photography and so forth. I'm going to look at specifically if we can find any specific segments in here in terms of the group. See how that splits out. Looks like it's not very clearly separated in terms of groups. But you can see here on the left, this is about 24 people that kind of focus on more of the fact that the image kind of content versus here on the right here, these 21 people kind of don't find too much interesting from it. It's images that you see every day on the internet. So again, kind of check in. Cool. It's interesting. So even getting perspective from here, like copy Wendy's make a lot of snarky passive aggressive comments. So obviously that kind of like the comedy aspect of it, the interesting aspect of it, and so forth. I saw something pop up around influencers, just straight up paying people to interact with content. Some people say nothing. I would do whatever Wendy's is doing. So that's the second statement that we've seen around Wendy's. So I'm actually curious to go into this. I'm going to let the people go after this question, just to say thanks so much for joining, that we're all done, and to have a fantastic weekend. But before we go, I'm going to quickly just dig in, see if there's anything here. I think, like I said, I saw some things around Wendy's and so forth. An eye-catching interactive ad campaign that caught the user's attention. 360-degree videos are a good example. So again, like a little bit more engaging content, giveaways, hot girls on my social media, and so forth. So cool. Very interesting. Well, on that note, I'm going to say goodbye and say thank you very much for watching the video, and have a great weekend. I'm all out of love. I'm so lost without you. I know you were right, believing for so long. I'm all out of love. What am I without you? I can't be too late to say that I was so wrong.